Hello friends and welcome to yet another video on TutorialsPoint with me, Richa. Today under this module we will talk about employee supervision. Well, if you are a manager or a first-time manager, you definitely have to be able to supervise your people well. Supervising is a very important aspect and function of a manager, and to do that in an effective and an imperative way is the most important thing for a manager. Let us see what is there on the agenda for us. Well, we will talk about what exactly is employee supervision. We'll talk about roles and responsibilities of a supervisor. We'll talk about certain things like basics, communication, challenges and conflict management while you're supervising your employees. We'll also talk about what are the functions or functionalities of a supervisor. We'll talk about what are the skills required in order to become a good supervisor or a successful supervisor. So well friends, what exactly do we mean by the word employee supervision? Here is what it is. Supervision is an activity in which all the manager oversee the work of the employees. They are responsible for whatever work the employee is responsible in his day-to-day life. A manager has to supervise all those tasks. Training, coaching as well as employee development are the core responsibilities of any good supervisor. Well, certain roles and responsibilities of a good supervisor is what we will look into now. Certain basics: the managers play a very important role and a vital role in the overall development of an employee. They need to make sure that they are giving them the required guidance and making sure that they have all the essential resources. Well, how the department looks and feels is what is actually the role of a manager. If the manager is able to supervise well and making sure that his department is functioning in a smooth manner is when you realize that as a manager you're doing a good supervisory skills. Let's take a look at communication. Well, as a supervisor, the manager is somewhere in the middle between the top management and the employees. So he has to make sure that he has to be a good communicator. Communication of simple things like policies of the company, the standard operating procedures and processes has to go from top to bottom, that is from top management to the employees, whereas the feedback of the employees has to go up to the top manager. Well, that's what a good communicator or a manager needs to do in order to supervise well. He needs to make sure that his communication is clear, concise and very apt for that particular situation. We also need to make sure as a role and responsibility of a supervisor, he has to be able to manage the day-to-day challenges. Well, managers have a huge role to play in the performance of their subordinates. He needs to be supportive and he has to have a good positive impact on his team. He must not use his power in order to make sure that he is really putting down people or misusing his power. He needs to walk the talk for his people, and hence it becomes important that day-to-day challenges are taken in a positive way by a good supervisor. Well, conflict management is again one of the important key role and responsibility of a supervisor. He needs to make sure that workplace conflict is taken in a healthy manner. It's not a new thing that having a workplace conflict is always going to be there. When people work together with each other on a daily basis, conflicts are bound to happen and disagreements are bound to happen. It is the responsibility of the manager to tone down certain heated discussions and make sure everyone works together in harmony and in peace. So any disagreements and any conflicts need to be taken care and need to be toned down so that the workplace becomes a healthy place and people love to come to work. Well friends, now let's take a look at what are certain functions of a supervisor. If you have recently got into the role of a supervisor, this is something that will really help you to understand. So what are the functions? Well, developing teamwork and individual employee skills as well as capabilities. A manager or a supervisor also needs to make sure that people are developing and their skills and competencies are not being stagnant and they continuously work in harmony. They also need to keep their employees motivated. Formal performance review or discussion. As a supervisor, it's very important to have a healthy dialogue in terms of performance review appraisals. You need to make sure that you are looking and you are approachable as a manager so that people can come up to you and talk to you about their grievances. You need to also have disciplinary action, so you should not always be lenient, you should be a disciplinarian. As well as scheduling. You need to make sure that as a function of a supervisor, you know how to schedule your tasks and prioritize, because there might be certain employees who might come and keep talking to you all the time about their problems and issues. Well, over here you need to make sure you give them a particular schedule for the same. Certain skills and competencies which are required for a good supervisor. You need to be a good listener. You need to be somebody who's available for your people. You need to make sure that your priorities are set in the right order and manner. You need to be a person who's very transparent in his or her communication. Never backbite people. Always make sure that your communication is absolutely transparent so that people can love to talk to you. You need to make sure that you are able to delegate your task, not do everything by yourself, but give out tasks to people who are good at doing that particular thing. Taking responsibilities as well as giving credit is again one of the important skill of a good supervisor. And last but not the least, they have to be realistic. So do not be in a fairyland. You need to be realistic about things and make sure that you do things accordingly in terms of the reality picture. Well friends, that brings us to the end of this module on employee supervision. Well, as a manager, I will definitely say that supervising is not something which comes easy. You need to be sure that you're available for your people, you're approachable, and that makes you a really good supervisor. Managerial skills and supervisory skills really go hand in hand. Well, I hope you have enjoyed listening to this particular module on employee supervision. Please keep watching, more videos coming your way. Till then, thank you.